I'm often asked the question, what should Christians look for in a school or a school program? So whether you're looking at a curriculum for homeschooling or looking at a variety of school options, public or private, of course my biases will come out here, because if I'm thinking about a place that's going to, where my child or my student is going to be for 7 hours a day for a number of years, there'd be some key things I'd be looking for. First of all, I would want to partner with educators where I was confident that my children were being told the truth. And I don't mean as opposed to being lied to, but it's so important that as they're learning all these disciplines, as they're learning how to read, write, they're learning math, they're learning history and study of the natural world through science, that they're told the truth about God, the nature of man, sin, eternal life. Those aren't separate. There's no such thing as neutrality, a worldview neutral education. So I'd want to be sure that the messages that my children were receiving while being educated were true. I'd want a school that valued the intellect, that valued the mind. That's not been a strength of the evangelical world for the last 100 or 150 years. We've minimized that, and we've given up too much. And so I would want a school that cared about the mind as a part of discipleship. I'd look for a school that unapologetically was committed to training students' affections. In the modern student center world, so the questions tend to be, well, what do you like, or what do you want to do? Instead of knowing what students should love and hate and training their minds toward the things that are true and beautiful and good. Schools that acknowledge the transcendent. Math becomes very practical and boring if you don't see its origin from God, that it originates from God, and that He has something in it for us that helps us know Him better and navigate the world more effectively, that it's not man-made and practical, but there's a transcendent beauty in math. That might have captured my attention as a young student, and I do think it's capturing students' attention as opposed to being just something practical. So I call that the transcendent value of the things that you're studying, the transcendent value of language or poetry, not just the practical, the application. I look for a school that taught the great books, used primary and original sources, and minimized textbooks, so that students really read from the source and learned to think and draw conclusions and didn't have it synthesized for them. If you want to know what George Washington believed, read his letters, read his works. They're available now more than ever. Don't pick up a textbook where you may have 5 different versions of who George Washington was based on somebody's interpretation. So this idea of original sources and primary works is very important. I'd want a school that taught logic formally. We've quit doing that in most of our schools, and emphasized rhetoric. I would want a school that, I'd look for a school that my kids were writing all the time and speaking all the time, debating all the time, where they're really honing those communication skills that the workplace, the workforce is saying is so absent. Colleges are saying students are showing up on their doorsteps from good schools that can't read and can't write effectively or communicate well. I would want that to be a priority. Parents ought to look for schools where kids are free to ask honest questions and get honest answers, not sheltered environments where there's a pat answer, a cliche, or don't think about that, but they explore other worldviews, other thoughts, and get comfortable with those in a respectful way too, not just comfortable so that you can win the argument, but that you can engage your neighbor in a loving and winsome way. Those are some of the things that, if I were a parent looking for a school that would be on the forefront of my mind.